Hello caffeine fiends and welcome to another coffee review for www.getbean.com. I'm Vince the Mean Bean Machine and today we're looking at Whittard coffee, Café Français. Now, that's Whittard as in Whittards of Chelsea, who are famous for kind of importing tea and making tea blends. So I must admit I've not tried any of their coffee stuff because I see them, one, as a tea company, and two, they're a bit too big for me, if you see what I mean. They're not quite a supermarket brand. You can pick up a lot of their stuff in supermarkets, but they're sort of high-end supermarket level, if you see what I mean. Slightly better than supermarket, but I just don't perceive them as competing with specialty coffee. And because they're a big enough brand that does tea and coffee, there's something about them that I've sort of perceived as they're like, well, that's not going to compete with a specialist roaster on that level. That being said, because they're not a generic kind of supermarket brand, they're not just churning out loads of the lowest quality for the highest price sort of thing, which will make them the most profit. And they have the money behind them to do impressive things. So they may well be able to produce a good coffee blend. But that's why I've avoided them so far. Now, I received this Café Français bag of beans for Christmas from a French person. It's a bit of an in-joke. I know a few French people. I buy them things like, socks with the Queen on. They buy me coffee, Café Français. Tit for tat. All mildly amusing. Blah, blah, blah. So, in any case, I've ended up with this Whittard's coffee that I believe is priced around £7 for 250 grams. So, its pricing point is also pricing itself at the same level as a lot of specialty coffee. It's a higher price than you would buy in the supermarket, and is near that specialty level. So at that rate, they should be trying to compete with specialty coffee. Fine, but I think they're possibly a more recognisable name. So if they can produce coffee that's at that level and make it more approachable to people who want to try specialty coffee but think it's a bit inaccessible. There is an issue kind of going around the specialty coffee industry at the moment that a lot of people see as inaccessible. It's just still kind of like a hipster thing, or you need to know about coffee to get into it, which I understand myself, because I only ever really got into coffee, proper coffee, via working in a coffee shop. So there is that level of kind of inaccessibility to it. So if anyone is going to break down those kind of barriers, it will be a company like Whittard's that can be better than a supermarket brand, but be also accessible enough. So I'm not instantly cynical. I just that's why I've avoided it so far, and I think they probably can do good things. And at the price point of £7 for 250 grams, though, they do have to be competing with specialty coffee. And whether they can do that or not, I'm a little dubious. The brewing instructions are very vague. Perfect cup always use fresh water, off the boil. So at least it's telling you don't scald your coffee. So many British people scald kind of tea and coffee because they boil the kettle and just go, bosh, job done. So as a culture, we don't really drink great tea or coffee at home, which is fine. So it's kind of addressed that, and its brewing instructions kind of suggest a French press, but having looked at this blend online, it does say it can be used for espresso, so I'm going to give it a go as espresso. So it's blended coffee, and it just says notes of cocoa and walnut. I mean, I really like the branding. It's a nice kind of shiny, bright packaging. It's got a little, flamingo. How that relates to Café Français, I'm not 100% sure. All those famous French flamingos. news to me. So, where were we? Cocoa and walnut. So it should be nice and smooth with a nice kind of nutty finish, which, I mean, those are notes that I look for. A nice kind of rich, sweet tone with a smooth finish, smooth nutty finish, and blah, I'll be happy as Larry. And if it can hit those tones as it suggests it might, then it could be a really great coffee. But like I say, for that price point, it needs to be competing with specialty coffee. So can a big company compete with specialty coffee? Let's find out. I'll grind it up, brew it up as an espresso shot, then as an oat latte, see what we think, and give you my feedback. Here is our espresso shot. Now, the first thing you notice when you open the bag is just how dark that roast is. It says, you know, dark roast, but it's quite dark, really quite dark. And you see how dark the roast is, and you smell it. It's got that really kind of pungent, kind of not burnt, but there's a roast smell to it, if you see what I mean. You know, there's a real sense of, you know, properly roasting that. So it's very dark, very oily, and it smells quite, you know, smoky in that sense. So I was surprised at how dark it was. But we've got an espresso shot. And it smells, I mean, you do get some light chocolatey notes through that kind of ashy roast smell. So I'm sort of expecting it to be fairly mild with that kind of how dark it is. Hopefully it'll be nice and smooth as well. In which case it will be a nice kind of rich chocolate, a slight kind of ashiness, but hopefully smooth enough to just kind of really be a pleasant coffee. So here goes. So yeah, there is a burnt ashiness that hits you on the tip of your tongue, but not in a kind of like, oh Jesus, that's burnt. In quite a pleasant kind of, ooh, that's smoky. Hits you right at the front of the tongue, and then as you swallow, this sort of smooth chocolatey feel comes through, and there's a slight catch at the back of the throat, but at no point are you kind of going, oh, that's caught me off guard. That's quite smooth. Quite smoky, not getting a lot of the chocolatiness. Was it walnut? I'm not particularly getting. Maybe. Right at the end, there's like a short burst of it, but it's not something you really kind of mull over. You just kind of go, yeah, all right, that's there. So, as an espresso shot is probably just a bit too dark for my personal taste, but I mean, if you like a smoky coffee, that's not bad at all, because it's not cloying. So often you kind of go, oh, I like a darker roast, but it just kind of makes you go a bit, because it is so dark and smoky and just catches you right at the back of the throat. That, not so much. But it's definitely a dark roast. I don't think you could serve that to anyone and they'd go, oh, what sort of roast? I think they know from that. Not as chocolatey as I'd hoped either. I think that smokiness just kind of powers through a bit too much. But I wonder if you kind of put that with milk or oat milk, in my case, as we will do in a second, if that is then dissipated and the chocolatiness comes through a bit more. So let's give it a go as an oat latte and see what comes from that. So there's our lovely oaty latte, quite smooth, a couple of big bubbles in there, but you know, fairly smooth pour. So I'm expecting the kind of richness of the darkness to come through the oat milk a little bit, hoping that kind of ashy smokiness is dissipated, as you'd expect, and then the chocolate to come through. Lord knows about that walnut, but let's give it a go. See what we think. Well, yeah, so no smokiness at all. It actually makes it a really nice, rich, sweet, chocolatey drink, and I'm really surprised at how dramatically that has changed with the oat milk. Almost no smokiness whatsoever. There is that smooth finish that's a little bit nutty, but it's not as nutty or prominent as you'd say with a hazelnut note. So I think walnut is probably quite right. It's a little bit dialed back, but it's still there. And I think they've specifically said cocoa rather than chocolate because it's richer and darker than say a chocolate note. It is a cocoa note, but I'm surprised at how it goes from quite ashy and a bit smoky, a bit kind of rugged almost, to such a smooth, rich, sweet coffee. And my God, that's an impressive and dramatic change. It's not sweet, but those cocoa notes are there. Cocoa. Yeah, really, really impressive in terms of the change. As a latte drinker, I could drink that all day long. With that kind of nice chocolatey overtone, just right in your face. There is a slight undertone of that smokiness, just ever so slightly coming through, but it's with such a dark roast that's always going to be there. But it balances quite well with it, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed for someone who's not a specialty coffee roaster how well they've done that. But I would not drink that as black coffee, personally speaking. As an espresso shot, at least it was just too much, too dark for me personally. But I enjoyed that. I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed that. There's always going to be specialty coffees that I favour. That's probably nowhere near any of my favourite coffees, but I think it's given me pause for thought on how I address kind of Whittards and Whittard coffee, and I'd buy that again in a pinch, you know. And you probably can find it in certain supermarkets or more easily than a specialty coffee. So yeah, well done Whittard, not bad. I'm going to go away, have a few thoughts about it, give it a, second tasting as it were, mull it over, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts. In the meantime, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and do check us out at www.getbean.com. Just my final thoughts on Whittard Café Français. I've given it 3 stars. because it's competing with specialty coffee, but I just don't think it kind of matches up, you know, blow for blow. But it's not bad. So 3 stars I think is probably about right. And all in all, they're smoky but not too intense when used as a shot, when produced as a shot, sorry. And the chocolate notes come out more as a latte. So, you know, you need to add milk to really bring them to the fore. And it's not the smoothest of finishes, but it's definitely not rough. And I think it's a perfectly pleasant, you know, drink. I think a lot of people will like it. And yeah, 3 stars for me. Perfectly good drink, but I just think there's probably better specialty out there. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you all soon. Bye bye.